Hello, Evie. Today we're going to be talking about the moon.
We are. So, if the sun is who you're becoming, the moon is who you've been. It's your emotional DNA, your instinctive reactions, and your comfort zone. The part of you that doesn't think, it just feels. The moon in your chart reveals your inner child, your deepest needs, and the emotional patterns that you carry, not just from childhood, but quite possibly from lifetimes before.
Interesting, lifetimes before. So it's all about the emotion, memory, and the soul's past, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
This podcast. And everybody asks, what's your sign? Meaning a sun sign. But we all ask each other that, don't we?
Yeah.
And whilst we mentioned in our last podcast, it does give you some information, but it's certainly not the whole story. It's like looking at the cover of the book and not looking inside.
Yeah, the surface rather than the depth.
Yeah. And the truth is your soul might feel even more important for understanding your day-to-day emotional life. It's more important, definitely, I think. It's what you need to feel safe.
Yeah.
How you process your feelings and what nourishes your soul. And it's interesting because little children often express their moon sign. I don't really notice with your children more than their sun sign because they're still living primarily in the emotional, instinctive world.
So today we're diving deep into the moon. Not just the 12 moon signs, but the spiritual and psychological significance of what the moon represents in your chart. We'll explore how the moon connects to your past, your mother, your subconscious, your inner child, and what makes you feel secure.
Brilliant. And we'll also talk about the moon phases, because where the moon was in its cycle when you're born affects how you approach life.
Yes.
And we'll also touch on why Vedic astrology considers your moon sign your primary identity, not your sun sign, and why the moon carries such powerful symbolism about probably every spiritual tradition.
Yeah. So whether you're a Cancer moon who needs emotional depth, an Aquarius moon who needs emotional space, let's explore the moon, the instinctive hidden terrain within us.
And in astrology, the moon represents your emotional body, your subconscious, your instinctive reactions, and your sense of security. Where the sun is your conscious will, your I am, the moon is your unconscious nature. This is the part of you that operates below the surface of awareness, I guess, your subconscious, unconscious.
Yeah, and that part of you that may impact your life without you realising if you aren't paying attention to your emotional world.
Which is not encouraged in today's world, I don't think. We're not encouraged to delve into our emotional world, are we?
No. So the moon is really powerful. Your sun might want to be brave and take risks, but if your moon needs safety and familiarity, you'll feel torn. Your thoughts might tell you one thing, but your feelings tell you another. And this can be the moon, actually, if it's strongly placed in your chart, needs constant attention on a daily level. So you may be feeling this, daily, hourly, in a sense that you need to manage your emotions and make that balance between your sun and moon. The moon is that feeling part and the gut instinct, the emotional truth behind the rational mind.
It's interesting, when we go on to explore Mercury, it's often we look at Mercury, which is the mind, and the moon, which is the instincts, and how many people say, well, my head says this, but the rest of me, my heart, my stomach says the other, definitely. So psychologically, the moon relates to the concept of the inner child, that part of you formed early in life, through your relationship with your mother or primary caregiver. And we've all got that child within us. My husband and I were talking last night about a situation he's come across, and we're talking about how he's responding logically and very clearly. Practically. But then we talked about his child and how his child actually felt. And it was a very different experience listening to that.
Yeah.
So your emotional imprints, your attachment patterns, your sense of belonging or abandonment. Carl Jung would call it the personal unconscious, the reservoir of memories and feelings that shape your reactions without you even knowing it.
Yeah. And spiritually, the moon is the keeper of the soul's memory. In many traditions, the moon is seen as the repository of past life experiences, especially emotional and karmic patterns. Where the sun shows your dharma, your purpose going forward, the moon shows your karma, the emotional baggage you're working through.
And from a reincarnation perspective, we were just talking about reincarnation, weren't we?
Yeah.
Your moon sign reveals the emotional comfort zone you've developed over many lifetimes, not just this lifetime. It's what feels familiar, safe and natural, even if it's not actually serving you anymore.
Yes.
That's why the moon work is so important in spiritual development. You must become conscious of these automatic patterns before you can choose differently. And that's the point. We can't choose differently if we don't connect to them.
Yeah, exactly. The moon is the foundation of your chart in a sense, where you've come from. So you've got to start at the root.
Yeah.
And the moon also rules cycles, rhythms, and the tides of life. Just as the moon controls the ocean's tides, it influences the ebb and flow of your emotional states. Learning to work with your moon means learning to honour your own rhythms, your need for retreat and renewal, and the natural cycles of your inner life, your inner seasons.
It's about validating, isn't it, our inner selves, about sitting with it, exploring it,
Yeah, not always having to move forward. Like the sun asks you to constantly make progression and move forward and hit those goals, whereas the moon says, no, just sit, just be, just feel.
And how many times in this life, in this modern world, do we get a chance to just sit and feel?
Oh, I know. It gets less and less, I think, with each generation.
Yeah, and I think it's really important we pull back to that point where we could just sit and do nothing and not put the TV in, not look at the phone and not look at everything. We're constantly running away from those unconscious feelings which we might perhaps find uncomfortable.
That's why I felt like we needed to sit. We normally stand during the podcast, but today I felt the real need that we should sit and be.
At the kitchen table, which is very closely related to the moon. So the moon's also deeply connected to the feminine principle, not just in the sense of gender, but in the archetypal sense of receptivity, intuition, nurturing, and the inner world. And where the sun is active, outgoing and yang, the moon is passive, reflective and yin. And both are essential. You need both to be whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if somebody was purely moon, what would they be like? They would just...
They may lack that drive to apply themselves, and they may be quite nostalgic and sit in the past.
Overly emotional. Lacking logic.
Yeah, fluctuations in mood, more,
So we need the sun to help guide us, that light to shine on them and say, oh, mate, come on, stop wallowing around. Get out there, let's go for it.
Yeah, there's more out there. And the future matters just as much as the past in that sense.
Yeah.
So one thing that makes the moon so dynamic is how quickly it moves. Unlike the sun, which spends about a month in each sign, the moon changes sign every 2.5 days. That means it cycles through all 12 signs in roughly 28 days, the length of a lunar month.
And interestingly, the moon moves, so there are degrees in astrology, so the moon moves between 13 degrees and 16 degrees per day. So, of course, it changes approximately every 2.5 days. So the 13 degrees is what they call a slow moon, and the 16 degrees movement throughout a day is the fast moon. So this rapid movement, this 2.5 days, is where you need your exact, or close to it, birth time to know your moon sign accurately. So if you're born early in the morning versus late at night, your moon could be in a completely different sign. So even a few hours can make the difference between, say, an emotional Cancer moon and an independent Leo moon.
So if you don't know your moon sign, you'll need your birth time, ideally from your birth certificate. If you contact us with your date, time and place of birth, we can calculate your moon sign for you and help you understand what it means for your emotional nature and soul's journey.
Brilliant.
So one of the most important things the moon represents in your chart is your relationship with your mother, or whoever was your primary caregiver in early life. The moon shows what kind of nurturing you received, what emotional patterns were modelled for you, and what you've learned about safety and belonging.
And it isn't about blaming your mother.
No.
I'm sure at some point all of us have looked up to our mother, but actually it's about understanding your emotional foundation.
Yeah.
And if your moon's in a challenging sign, or has difficult aspects, or mine's in Capricorn, which is not the most elevated sign, it can be that your early emotional needs weren't met in some way, and I guess I can understand that.
Perhaps about reparenting the self as well when the moon's in a more difficult sign.
And parenting better than how you were parented.
Yes, yeah. Correcting the lineage.
And it's not, if your emotional needs aren't met, it's not because of bad parenting, but because of mismatched temperaments or difficult circumstances. I was thinking it's interesting that we talk about mothers and children and fathers and children, but if then it's part like whether they're genetically and emotionally compatible, isn't it really? Sometimes it's not anybody's fault in inverted commas, it's actually just a mismatch.
A clash in personality,
Your moon sign shows how you responded to your mother.
Yeah, that's
so I was thinking about how siblings have got different, you and your brother have different moon signs.
Yeah.
And your mum has a different moon sign as well. And so you will have experienced the same mother, filter it differently through a different emotional lens, so you'll respond and emotionally respond in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, a Scorpio moon child will need emotional intensity and depth, but if they have a Sagittarius mother who's more cheerful and freedom-loving, there might be a fundamental mismatch in emotional language, like we were saying, clash in personality. The child may feel too much, and the mother wants to keep things light. Neither is wrong, but the child may grow up feeling unseen. Again, not through anyone's fault.
Just a mismatch. But perhaps, and even that's part of the karmic path, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we choose our parents, as they say, and I think I believe that, then that is at that point of the soul's evolution a choice to have that mother.
And it's about learning each other's love language as well, isn't it? How can I relate to this person? There is a way, but it's something that takes sort of conscious consideration and working on that relationship.
And maybe that Scorpio energy of that child needs to be put somewhere else, and it'll help them develop that and how to project and how to move forward with that energy in different arenas in life. Yeah,
and what are similarities with Sagittarius moon and Scorpio moon? Both might like to take risks, or skydiving, you think about taking risks and adventure. They may find a common bond where they can connect on. Another example, I guess, is a Capricorn moon child who needs structure and emotional containment.
say, for example, they're raised by a Pisces mother who's more fluid and boundaryless. And that child might feel like the parent in the relationship taking on too much responsibility too young because the emotional stability they needed wasn't there. Our relationships teach us. We learn from one another. And equally, I think it's really important that mothers also have the opportunity to grow through their relationship with their children and the differences between them.
And they can learn from their child. Exactly. The beautiful thing is, understanding your moon helps you reparent yourself as an adult. So you can learn to give yourself what you didn't get or what you feel brings you security. You can recognise, I have an Aries moon, so I know I need independence and encouragement to be bold. I like risks. And you can start providing that for yourself instead of waiting for someone else to do it.
And that's growing up to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's maturity and a mature moon, isn't it? Giving yourself what you need.
And from a karmic perspective, your mother in this lifetime might be somebody you had a soul contract with. Perhaps someone you needed to heal a past life relationship with. Or maybe somebody whose emotional patterns you need to understand for your own growth. The moon shows the emotional inheritance you're working with, both genetic and karmic. Other relationships might be karmic too. Partners, family members. Jung believed that the best placement for a couple was when the woman's moon sign was in the same sign as the man's sun sign. But what I've found throughout the years is what does seem to work is couples whose moon signs are the same. And your partner is the same moon sign as you.
Exactly.
And my husband is the same moon sign as me. And they're often very compatible too. So Jung had something there. I guess that was more in the patriarchal times when the sun was the masculine, the moon was the feminine, so the woman had to be the same sign, moon sign had to be the same sign as the man. So it's something about that traditional, isn't it?
Patriarchal.
Yeah. So the moon is also the keeper of memory, but you haven't forgotten that, have you, Yviw?
All the squares to my moon. No.
Not just memories from this life, but cellular memory, ancestral memory, and soul memory. Your moon holds the imprint of everything your emotional body has experienced, and your emotional body is eternal. And those imprints influence how you respond to situations now.
Yeah, and that's why certain things can actually trigger you for no logical reason that you can figure out. Maybe you have an intense fear of abandonment, even though you've actually never been abandoned in this life. That might be your moon carrying a past life memory of loss or an ancestral pattern passed down through your lineage. It may come from a great-great-grandmother, or great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, that's interesting. We were talking about that, weren't we, as well, ancestral lineage.
We were just talking about this,
and how things that happen to our grandparents may impact us without even us realising it.
Perhaps in that lifetime they didn't work through that lesson, so is it passed down to the next person in the lineage?
Pass the baton. In some spiritual traditions, the moon's seen as the gateway between incarnations. When the soul prepares to enter a new body, it passes through the lunar sphere where it gathers the emotional and karmic content it will carry into the next life. So your moon literally shows the emotional stuff you brought with you this time round. Sounds heavy, hey?
Yeah. And working with your moon means bringing these unconscious patterns into consciousness. When you understand your moon, you can start to witness your reactions instead of being ruled by them. You can say, that's my Cancer moon, I'm feeling vulnerable, instead of just feeling overwhelmed and perhaps lashing out and without knowing why.
I was just thinking about my Capricorn moon and how I have to consciously connect with my emotions, because my Capricorn moon says, nope, there's no time to mess around with emotions. I know they're there, but we need to get on with the next job. So I have to actually consciously work and understand that I have to attend to my emotional needs, which I tend to forget.
Yeah.
So this is kind of shadow work, isn't it, in Jungian terms, becoming aware of the unconscious material that's been driving your behaviour. And it's essential for spiritual growth because you can't transcend what you haven't integrated.
No.
Your moon needs to be seen, felt and honoured before your sun can truly shine even.
So it's really about integrating your inner child, isn't it, in that sense as well, when you're working with your moon and accepting your vulnerabilities.
Allowing your sun also to take care of your moon, but your moon to guide your sun.
Yeah, they work in unison, don't they?
Yeah.
So before we dive into the moon signs, let's talk about how different cultures view the moon, because it's revered almost everywhere. In Vedic astrology, your moon sign called your Rashi is actually considered more important than your sun sign, and that's been the same throughout history, really. And when someone in India asks what your sign, they mean your moon sign. That's because the moon represents your mind and emotions, which are seen as closer to your everyday daily experiences than the abstract or the more abstract purpose of the sun. I think that's because the moon is so sort of permeant. It does influence so much in your chart. I can see why they approach that as the sun sign.
I think personally I'll look at the sun sign, but I always look very, very carefully at the moon sign in the chart. And in fact, often I think that probably takes predominance. Yeah,
I agree. So Vedic astrology also uses 27 lunar mansions called the nakshatras, which are even more specific than the 12 signs. Each nakshatra has its own deity, symbol and qualities, and your birth nakshatra reveals incredibly detailed information about your soul's journey and emotional nature.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
In Chinese medicine and philosophy, the moon represents yin energy, receptive, cooling, feminine and internal. It's associated with the water element in the kidneys, which store your life force essence. Balancing lunar energy is central to health in Chinese tradition.
I really like that because it's really interesting. We talk about Western medicine being at the pinnacle, but actually when you delve into Indian medicine and Indian astrology and Chinese astrology, there is so much forgotten information, real gold there, isn't there?
Yeah. And indigenous cultures worldwide honour the moon as a sacred feminine force. Lunar cycles guide planting and harvesting, ceremonial timing and women's mysteries. The moon is seen as the grandmother, the keeper of ancient wisdom and the guide through darkness.
Yeah, and in Western esoteric traditions, the moon's associated with the high priestess and the tarot.
Yeah.
Intuition, mystery, the subconscious. The moon rules the astral plane, the realm of dreams and visions. Many mystical practices are done during specific moon phases to harness different energies. So we know in a full moon there is more moon energy available to tap into.
Yeah. Alchemists called the moon the lesser light, not lesser in importance, but complementary to the sun. In spiritual alchemy, balancing solar and lunar energies within yourself, active and receptive, conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine, is the key to wholeness.
So, across every tradition, the moon is recognised as a powerful force. It's not just an emotional marker in your chart. It's a gateway to your inner life, your past, and your soul's memory, which is pretty profound.
So now let's explore the 12 moon signs. Remember, these aren't your sun sign horoscopes that you may see in newspapers. Your moon sign operates mostly unconsciously, especially when you're young. As you mature and do inner work, you can bring your moon's patterns into awareness and work with them more consciously.
And your moon sign reveals what you need to feel emotionally secure, how you process feelings, and what soothes you when you're stressed. It's also what you do instinctively when you're not thinking, your default emotional setting.
It can also show you what you need on a daily level, in a sense. So I've got moon in Aquarius, so I really value freedom and making my own choices. So daily I need to feel that in order to feel safe within myself, grounded in myself. That makes sense.
And connected to yourself, and when you're connected you feel grounded.
Yeah. So moon in Aries. An Aries moon needs independence, action and directness. Emotionally, these people don't sit with feelings as much as some of the other signs. They move through them. So when upset, they need to do something physical, assert themselves or take immediate action on an issue. They feel stifled by too much emotional processing.
But it's still important they connect to it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And from a past life perspective, I think Aries moon souls may experience suppression or imprisonment where they couldn't act freely.
Yeah.
In this life, their emotional body craves autonomy and gets anxious when confined. They need to learn that not every feeling requires immediate action. Sometimes feelings do just need to be felt. So Taurus moon.
Yeah.
So a Taurus moon needs stability, comfort and sensory pleasure. These are the people who feel better after a good meal, a warm bath or being in nature. Change is emotionally difficult because their nervous system craves predictability and routine.
Absolutely. And karmically, Taurus moon people may have experienced instability or deprivation in past lives, famine, poverty or constant upheaval. Now, their emotional body insists on building security and will not let go easily. They need to learn that while stability is important, clinging too tightly can block their own growth. So, moon in Gemini. A Gemini moon processes emotions through words and thoughts. They need to talk about their feelings, write them down, or intellectually understand what's happening emotionally. Silence and emotional intensity without explanation can make them nervous and impact their nervous system and perhaps their stomach.
Because they work on information. Information gives them resolution.
Exactly.
And they might have had past life memories of being silenced or not having their voices heard because Gemini is associated with Mercury.
Yes.
In this life, communication is how they metabolize emotion. The challenge is letting not everything can be rationalized. Sometimes you have to drop into the feeling without analyzing it.
Yes.
So moon in Cancer, next one. So Cancer is the moon's home sign. So this placement is really, really powerful. Cancer moon people are deeply sensitive, empathetic and nurturing. They feel everything, their own emotions and everybody else's too. They need emotional safety, family connection, and actually a secure home base.
Yeah, routine. Absolutely. So from a karmic perspective, Cancer moon souls are often old emotional healers who've spent lifetimes caring for others. In this life, their challenge is learning to receive care, not just give it. They need to build emotional boundaries and understand that protecting their sensitivity isn't selfish. It's absolutely necessary.
Absolutely.
So Moon in Leo. A Leo moon needs recognition, appreciation and warmth. Emotionally, they're generous and expressive, but they can feel crushed if their feelings are dismissed or if they feel unseen. My son has Moon in Leo, and when he was little, we all had to watch if he had a performance or he'd built something or made something, because he really got a sense of security from feeling there was pride felt within the family and he was seen. So they need to be celebrated, people with Moon in Leo, not just tolerated.
And karmically, they might have been invisible in past life, servants, forgotten children, or people who had to suppress their brightness. Now their emotional body demands to be seen and heard. Their lesson is learning that their worth isn't dependent on external applause, it comes from within. I wonder if my dog's got Moon in Leo, because she's growling at the moment.
She is. She's needing attention and to be seen.
Yes. Virgo moon. So a Virgo moon processes emotions through service and practical problem solving. When upset, they clean, organise, or find something useful to do. They're also emotionally most comfortable when they feel competent and helpful. Chaos and disorder create emotional distress.
I think,
Perfection.
These souls may carry past life patterns of needing to be perfect to be loved, or of surviving through usefulness, and their security comes from being appreciated. But their emotional healing comes through learning that they're worthy just for existing, not for what they're doing or what they're offering or how well they perform.
There's something about all the moon signs learning that being just yourself in your raw state, your not emotional state, but emotionally connected state, is valuable enough in itself. We don't have to do, be and chase. We just have to be ourselves and sit with ourselves. And that's about being validated and loved for who we are on a soul level, isn't it?
So Moon in Libra. A Libra moon needs harmony, beauty and relationships. They can be emotionally uncomfortable with conflict and will often suppress their own needs to keep the peace. They process emotions through partnership and need someone to mirror and validate their feelings, and may find being on their own a lot quite difficult because they crave that union with another.
And in fact, they really only find stability when they find that in a relationship often.
And that can be a struggle, isn't it? That's one of their struggles.
Because from a karmic perspective, they may have experienced rejection or relational trauma in past lives. And now they're learning to balance their need for connection with their need for authenticity.
Yes, not to stifle themselves with their own need
to please others.
With another.
The challenge is discovering that true harmony comes from honest expression, not from people pleasing.
And perhaps in some ways learning to be happy as an individual on their own at some point in life.
Somebody said to me once, the most important relationship you can have is the one you have with yourself.
Maybe they can pour that love into themselves.
So Moon in Scorpio, it's one of the most intense placements. These people feel everything deeply, never halfway. They need emotional truth, depth, and the ability or the opportunities for transformation. Surface level interactions leave them feeling empty. They can handle darkness. What they can't handle is pretense.
Which I like. Authenticity, absolutely. Karmically, people with Moon in Scorpio often carry heavy past life wounds, betrayal, loss and trauma. They've experienced the depths of human suffering, and now their emotional body is wired for intensity. Their healing comes through learning to trust again, to be vulnerable, and to let go of the need to control their emotional environment out of fear. So let's have a look at Moon in Sagittarius. A Sagittarius moon needs freedom, meaning, and optimism. They're emotionally uncomfortable with heaviness or prolonged emotional dwelling. When upset, they need to move, they need to travel, learn something, or shift their perspective. They process emotions through meaning making.
And these souls, they might have had a past life experience of restriction or dogma, and now their emotional body it craves expansion and freedom, but it just won't tolerate being fenced in. The challenge is learning that not all emotions can be philosophized away. Sometimes you have to sit with discomfort rather than to escape into the next adventure. So I guess we all try and run away from our emotions, don't we?
I can relate to that. I've got Mercury in Sagittarius, which is quite strong in my chart.
So Moon in Capricorn. Capricorn Moon is one of the most challenging placements because emotional expression feels unsafe. These people learned early on to be self-sufficient, to control their emotions and not to burden others with their needs. Does that sound familiar to you with me, Yviw? They're emotionally most secure when they feel in control and competent. And I think with Moon in Capricorn, as you know, my husband's got Moon in Capricorn, there's a real need, a drive for respect. It's not admiration, it's not flattery. They want to just be valued and respected for the hard work that they put in.
Yes, yeah. Karmically, Capricorn moon souls may have experienced abandonment or had to grow up too fast in past lives, or even present childhood. They learn that showing vulnerability led to disappointment. In this life, Their healing comes through learning that emotions are not weaknesses and that receiving care doesn't diminish their strength.
Thanks, Yviw.
Just a quick interpretation.
Yeah, thanks, babe.
Moon in Aquarius. So this is me. An Aquarius moon needs space, intellectual stimulation and emotional detachment. They're uncomfortable with emotional intensity or neediness in themselves or others. See, I'm just going to interject myself. Because I have Sun in Scorpio, this is what we're talking about with the balance of the Sun and Moon. I need to balance both my Moon's need for space, but also my Sun's need in Scorpio for intensity and connection. So for me, daily, this is a theme.
No, I hear that. I get that.
So they process feelings by stepping back, getting objective and understanding patterns rather than drowning in the feeling itself.
And these souls might have had past life memories of being overwhelmed by emotion or losing themselves in others.
Yeah.
And now they swung to the opposite extreme, protecting themselves through basically distance. The growing edge, or the growth edge, is learning that healthy attachment isn't the same as codependency, and emotions can be felt without being consumed by them. So now I've given you a quick reading.
Thank you.
Moon in Pisces. Pisces moon is dreamy, empathetic and boundaryless. These people absorb emotions like a sponge, not just their own. It's a bit like Cancer moons, but everybody else is around them. They need beauty, spirituality and escape. They're emotionally attuned to subtle energies and the unseen realms. And it's a lovely moon sign, as long as it's balanced by some good grounding earth in the chart.
Yeah, otherwise some people may feel a bit flighty, a bit ungrounded if they have a lot of Piscean energy in their chart. Yeah. So karmically, Pisces moon souls are often sensitive healers, mystics or artists who've spent many lifetimes in spiritual service. Their challenge in this life is learning discernment, recognising what's their emotion versus someone else's, because there is a tendency with people with a lot of Pisces in their charts to pick up on other people's energy, absorb it like a sponge, and then not know their feelings from another's.
Where do I start and where do you start and where do I end?
Exactly.
And where do you end? Yeah.
Well, being the 12th sign in the chart, Pisces, it is about that one foot in both camps, in a sense, the spiritual world, the physical. So you really need to discern what's yours. And needing to recognise their emotion versus someone else's, and understanding that they can be compassionate without drowning in others' pain.
And I relate to Moon in Pisces because this is slightly more technical astrologically, but I've got Sun in Scorpio with Neptune, which governs Pisces, on top of it. So I do relate to the Piscean energy of absorbing stuff, and boundaries, and I've had to work on that. Yeah. So moon phases, should we look at those next?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Another layer of understanding. So beyond your moon sign, there's another important factor. What phase the moon was in when you were born. The moon moves through 8 primary phases, and each one gives a different flavour to how you approach life cycles.
So if you were born under a new moon, when the sun and moon are conjunct in alignment,
next to each other,
at your moment of birth, you're a seed planter, an initiator. You're here to start things, to pioneer and to begin new cycles. But you might struggle with completion or seeing the long-term results of what you start.
And the next phase is a waxing crescent moon. And in your birth chart, this suggests growth and building energy. You're on your feet. You're not just being born like the new moon. You're actually on your feet. You're action orientated, pushing forwards, always developing something. You might be impatient with delays or the need to consolidate.
So first quarter moon people face challenges and decisions. You're here to overcome obstacles and make things happen through your efforts. Life asks you to take a stand, to choose sides and to actively build your vision. And the next phase is waxing gibbous moon, and that indicates refinement and perfection. You're the analysers and improvers, always tweaking and adjusting. You might struggle with perfectionism or launching something before it feels completely ready to go. So full moon births, when the sun and moon are opposite in the sky at the moment of your birth, give you awareness and illumination. You see both sides of everything, which can at times be a gift or a curse. You're here to bring things to completion, to manifest, but you might feel pulled between opposing forces. Also, just to add, when the sun and moon are in opposition at birth, that can indicate some tension or the differences highlighted between your parents, your mother and father, which have become an integral part of you to process in this lifetime.
Absolutely, definitely. And the disseminating moon are the people, the teachers and sharers. They're here to spread what they've learned, to mentor, to pass on wisdom. You might struggle with knowing when to stop giving and when to turn inwards, though, with the moon phase. So last quarter moon births indicate transition and release. You're here to let go, to break down old structures and to clear the way for the new.
Life asks you to surrender what no longer serves, which can be emotionally challenging.
And the last cycle, balsamic moon births, the final phase before the new completion of a cycle. Your old souls, here to finish karmic business, to release the past and to prepare for a new beginning. You might feel like you're kind of living between worlds, not quite here and not quite there. Yeah. So working with your moon consciously, should we look at that?
Yeah.
How do people connect to their moon?
Yeah, how do we actually work with the moon? How do you heal and integrate these unconscious patterns?
Well, first of all, learn what your moon sign is and really study it. Not just the surface descriptions, but the psychological and spiritual depths. And ask yourself also, what did I need as a child that I didn't get? What do I still need now? And how do I give that to myself?
Yeah. So we can track the moon's monthly cycle and notice how your emotions shift with it. Many people find they're more emotional around the full moon, especially if the moon is quite strongly placed within their birth chart. Or they may be more introspective during the dark moon. Working with lunar rhythms helps you honour your natural cycles instead of fighting them.
Yep, good old full moon. Do some shadow work. Journal about your emotional patterns, your triggers, your fears. Work with a therapist or counsellor if those patterns are deep or traumatic in any way. The moon holds your wounds, and healing those wounds is some of the most important spiritual work you can do, because it not only, in my understanding and my experience, helps you psychologically, but actually can help you physically. It's to do with health too.
The moon rules the stomach, and I have worked with before. I've noticed a moon that has difficult aspects can usually sort of manifest within the stomach and stomach issues.
Yeah, definitely.
So creating rituals around the new moon and full moon is also really productive and helpful. The new moon is for setting intentions and planting seeds, and the full moon is for releasing, celebrating and letting go. Even simple practices, lighting a candle, writing down your intentions and taking a ritual bath can help you attune to the lunar energy. And also really important, I think, practice self-nurturing. We can't expect to be nurtured the way that we need without understanding what those needs are. No, exactly. And if we practice self-nurturing, that's connecting with our own needs and understanding what we need. And then you can work on expressing those needs to loved ones. Whatever your moon sign needs, whether it's solitude, physical comfort, emotional expression or intellectual stimulation, give it to yourself regularly. Your moon is your inner child. You need to take care of that child. The moon isn't about being perfect. No, it's about being human, isn't it? It's about honouring your feelings and your vulnerabilities. When you accept and integrate your moon, your inner child, you'll stop needing others to fill that emotional void because you're filling it yourself. And then whatever you allow into your life is adding to it. It's not completing it. It's more balanced, isn't it? Yeah. 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 And so we're going to talk a little bit about the moon and spiritual practice. Yeah. In many spiritual traditions, working with the moon is central to practice. The moon is considered the doorway to the subconscious and therefore the doorway to the spiritual realms. So meditation practices done during specific moon phases can be more powerful. Dark moon meditation helps you to access your shadow and release old patterns. Full moon meditation amplifies energy and intention. Is also a very powerful time to release that which isn't serving you. Some teachers say spiritual breakthroughs happen more easily during the full moon because consciousness is more illuminated. And we can put that down almost to a biological fact that our brains are made up of water. The full moon affects the tides, so therefore it affects the water in the brain, and perhaps that makes us more receptive to the spiritual realms. Yeah, there's a stronger pull. Yeah, dream work is also lunar work. The moon rules dreams, and paying attention to your dreams, especially around those very important moon phases, can reveal messages from your subconscious and higher self. I love dream analysis. Me too. So interesting. Fascinating. Yeah, and it does connect to the 12th house. You can usually see that within a chart. If there's quite an active 12th house, there's usually somebody has quite active, vivid dreams. I'll just drop in there. The houses are... The entire birth chart is divided into 12. It's like pie-like segments, if you like, for want of a... There are different ways of calculating that, but the 12th house is the last house before the ascendant, going full circle into the first house again. We will discuss that. I just jumped the gun. Oh, that's the thing about this work, isn't it? Yeah. It's tempting to jump the gun and become complicated when we have to keep it... understandable. Yeah. So in tantric practices, the moon represents the divine feminine, Shakti, the creative power of the universe. Balancing lunar and solar energies within your own system is part of Kundalini awakening. When the moon and sun unite within you, you'll experience inner wholeness. Yin and yang. And Kabbalistic teachings associate the moon with Yesod, the ninth sephira of the tree of life, which is the foundation and realm of the subconscious. So working with Yesod means working with your emotional body, your dreams and your instinctive nature. So in shamanic traditions, the moon is a spirit guide in herself. You can develop a relationship with the moon as a conscious being who offers wisdom, healing and guidance. Many shamanic practitioners do ceremonies specifically to honour and commune with lunar consciousness.
And that gives, it almost feels like a goddess sort of status, doesn't it, when you talk about that?
Right. Yeah.
And the moon in your chart isn't just a placement or a set of traits. It's the actual keeper of your soul's memory. It's the guardian of your emotional truth and the foundation upon which everything else in your chart is built. It couldn't be more important.
So understanding your moon means understanding your hidden self, the part that only comes out in private, in intimate relationships, or when you feel completely safe. It's learning to honour your needs, your rhythms, and your right to feel whatever you feel without any shame.
And whether you have a fiery Aries moon, learning to sit still with emotions, a grounded Taurus moon, learning to embrace change, or a watery Pisces moon, learning healthy boundaries, your moon is always there, asking you to come home to yourself.
And when you heal your moon, everything else begins to heal too. Because when your emotional foundation is solid and your roots are solid and healthy, and when you feel safe within yourself, you can shine your sun more brightly, love more freely, and live more authentically.
So, listeners, if you'd like some help understanding where your moon sign is, what it is, your nodes, we'll look at nodes in another podcast, I think, because it's a little bit more complex. And
I think
another
we'll be
layer.
looking at that in 2 weeks on the 12th of December.
That sounds good, Or your lunar phase, message us with your birth details. Date, more or less exact time if you have it, and place. And we'd love to guide you deeper into your emotional landscape. And as Yviw just said, 12th of December, we'll continue our soul's journey through astrology, and we'll be looking at the nodes of the moon, which is fascinating because it's all about past lives and karma.
Yeah, we're going to delve more into karmic baggage and how to work with that and live your fullest life.
Until then, honour your feelings, trust your intuition, and remember that your moon is your inner sanctuary. Tend it well, take care of it, and take care of yourselves. Bye.
Thank you.